Although prices are way down, it's still very expensive to buy in Toronto. I'm going to talk about who's buying these houses and the latest home prices and insights for the City of Toronto for week ending February 22, 2023. Everybody has seen prices come way down. Over the course of 12 months, prices have come down $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. But still, the average sold price in the City of Toronto for a detached property is more than $1.7 million. So who's buying these properties? Well, I sit on a unique vantage point. As a realtor, I work with buyers and sellers, have lots of conversations with other buyers and sellers out there. And I could tell you a vast amount of buyers are buyers that have something to sell and they're moving up to a bigger property. They're selling their current home, moving up to a bigger property that is more expensive. Why are they doing this? Well, what we're finding is that the property they're selling has seen less price depreciation than the property they're buying. So the property they're buying, a larger, more expensive home, has seen greater price depreciation. Why is this happening? Well, the more expensive items, the more expensive properties out there have had there's less competition there, so prices have come down more. And what they're selling, it's usually an entry-level type of property, a condo, townhouse, a small entry-level detached property. There's lots of pressure, lots of first-time home buyers looking to get into the market also these days. And we see price stability in what they're selling. In many cases, prices going up now over the last few weeks we're seeing for what they have to sell. So they have confidence that they're going to get what they would consider a decent amount for the property that they're selling, and it's going to enable them to buy what they want to buy, a much larger home. Now, keep in mind, the property they're selling that they're currently living in is not a property that they bought 1 or 2 years ago. In most cases, they've lived in this property for many years, and they've built up enough equity to help propel them to buy the larger home. Plus, there's two incomes almost always. There's two incomes earning very, very good money they're able to buy, and it makes sense for them right now. And the first-time home buyers that are jumping into the market are causing this supply-demand issue right now. There's lots of demand, not enough supply in the entry-level market, so it's keeping those prices stable or moving up, allowing those people selling the entry-level properties to buy something larger. That's what we're seeing. And in the conversations I'm having with people that are making this move, they feel the confidence. They've been watching the market for a while. They've thought about this for a while. It didn't make sense for them to make a move at the peak. It didn't make sense for them to make any kind of move during the complete total uncertainty that we've had over the last 12 months. They have seen prices come down, but now they feel more confident. They feel some sort of comfort in the stability of, if we could even call it stability right now. But this is what we're seeing out there, and I'm explaining my conversations with you that I'm having with buyers every single day. If you get value out of this video, please consider subscribing. If you think this can help somebody you know, pass the video along. Let's get into the numbers. If you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you. This way I'll know ahead of time and I'll make sure my schedule's organized so we can talk about whatever's on your mind. Here we go. Let's get into the numbers. I have here City of Toronto only, detached properties only, broken down by 1 week for a whole year. For week ending February 22, 104 detached properties were sold, which is slightly down from the previous week, down by 4. So it's pretty much the same. And over the previous 4 or 5 weeks, we've been hovering around 100 sales a week of detached properties. 27 of those 104 properties were sold at $2 million or more. Now, of the 104, 9 properties, only 9, sold less than $1 million, or 4 less than $1 million. Now, the previous week, 17 properties sold less than $1 million. This week, only 9. Compared to last year, 1,715,000 is 18% lower than where the prices were last year. And for comparison reasons, we compare it to last year, but it's just for information only. It's a data point. If you are at all interested or thinking about getting involved with the market, or even actually anything you need to know, the most important number is what's happening right now. What trend are we on right now? A year ago, that is gone. Right now, here's what's happening. So we said average sold price up here, it's 18% lower than what it was a year ago. The median price is 17% lower than what it was a year ago. But here's what's happening right now. Here's a 3-month chart broken down by week for average price and median price. The green dotted line divides last year, this year, and the other dotted line, I got lots of dotted lines, is the 4-week moving average. Well, last year, both for average and median, leading to the end of the year, kind of flat. Prices were kind of flat. This year, what we're seeing both in average and in median prices are going up. There's no denying it. Average price and median price each week seem to be getting higher and higher. Sales, I'd said over the last 4 or 5 weeks, sales are pretty much the same. We sold 104, but 40% of those 104 sold at list price or more. So there's lots of competition out there. Listings, well, this week we've listed 238, which is nice to see that listings have increased because there's an appetite out there. There's lots of buyers looking to buy. Let's give them the properties to buy. Months of inventory sitting at 1.8. It's up just by 0.1 from the previous week, but has been pretty flat now for the last 3 weeks or so. That's all the city of Toronto, but let's break it down a little bit. Here's the summary again. Sales 104, average sold price 1,715,000, list price, sold at list price or more 40%. Months of inventory for all Toronto's 1.8. But let's look at the breakdown. We've got Toronto broken down into 9 sections, and we've put the borders to kind of make sense as to like properties in the same area here. Now Scarborough sees the most activity. 29 detached properties were sold in Scarborough for week ending February 22. 2/3, 66% of those properties sold at list price or more. So there's tons of competition in Scarborough. Months of inventory is sitting at 1. All of Toronto, 1.8. Scarborough sitting at 1 month of inventory. Look at some of these other areas. The most expensive area for average sold price, no surprise, the York Mills, Rosedale area, average sold prices over 2.7 million, closer to 2.8 million, and 1/3 of those are selling at list price or more. But months of inventory in this area, York Mills, Rosedale, is 3.8 months of inventory. You can see some of the other areas here. East York, Riverdale, Beaches, 10 detached properties were sold. Average sold price is 1,780,000. Months of inventory sitting at 1.6. So still very competitive. But when you look at the different parts of Toronto, we've got months of inventory here in Etobicoke at 2.3. Again, 3.8 here. York Mills, 1.6 in East York, 1 in Scarborough. Every area has its own unique market within the whole city of Toronto. That's why I break the chart down this way for you. Let's take a close look at semis. 34 semi-detached properties were sold. 9 of those were at $1.5 million or more. Average sold price for semi has been climbing now for several weeks, sitting at $1,474,000. That's quite high for semis. It's actually 1% higher than where the average sold price was a year ago. We're not saying that with too many property types where the price is higher than a year ago. The median price of $1,383,000 is also 1% higher than where the median price was a year ago. Last year, average sold price, median price seemed to be trending down towards the end of the year. This year, trending up. Things have really picked up in the semi-market this year. Months of inventory, it's up from last week, but still sitting at 1.1 months of inventory. 59% of the semis sold at list price or more. Townhouses, 15 freehold townhouses were sold. 4 of those were at 1.5 million or more. Average sold price pretty close to where semis are, sitting at $1,456,000. 1,456 is a crazy 16% higher than where townhouses were this time a year ago. The median price of $1,250,000 is 3% higher than where the median price was a year ago. And similar story. Last year prices headed towards the end of the year were either flat or coming down in this case. This year, they're moving up, getting more expenses as each week rolls along right now. And 53% of the townhouses that sold at list price or more. Months of inventory up by 0.1, sitting at 1.1 months of inventory. Average days on market is 15. Here's condos. 173 condos were sold. Sales figures are down from the previous week. It was 196 the previous week, 173 this week. 25 of those condos sold at $1 million or more. Average sold price came down just a little bit, now sitting at $763,000. 763 is 12% lower than where the average sold price was a year ago. The median price of 660 is 13% lower than the median price a year ago. Leading to the end of the year, here's the dotted line, the 4-week moving average. Pretty flat for condos leading towards the end of the year. This year though, average sold price and median price are trending upwards. Not to the same degree that the detached market is moving or the semi-market is moving, but condos nonetheless are going up each week with average sold price and median price. We're way off the pace of what we were selling last year. Of the 103 that sold, 37% sold at list price or more. That number's climbing, that percentage. And listings, since middle of January, we're kind of listing similar amounts each week. 472 were listed for week ending February 22nd, and months of inventory came down a little bit, now sitting at 3 months of inventory. Here's a quick summary. You know, for detached semi and towns, look, you could look at this and say, well, months of inventory went up, which is a true statement, but it really went up from a really low months of inventory, and it went up by 0.1, so it's still quite low. Condos did come down, but it hasn't come down by much either. It's getting very competitive out there, and if you remember the illustration I had of the different areas of Toronto, the different neighborhoods, there really is different behaviors, the markets are reacting differently in the different neighborhoods. Price point has a lot to do with it. Is it an entry-level type, or average sold prices more affordable? All that plays into what's the activity like, what's the market like in that neighborhood, and strategy as a result will change in each neighborhood. You can't be selling the same way or buying the same way all across Toronto. Different strategies, different markets, who you hire matters. Thanks for watching. Again, if you get value out of this, consider subscribing. Have a great day.